Okay, we'll go ahead and get started here. And again, if you do have any questions throughout the training, feel free to put them in either the Q&A or the chat, and I will be able to respond to you. So first off, welcome to the Level 365 Basic User Training. My name is Eric Morgan. I'm one of the escalation engineers. I also do training. We also have some other customer success team members. We have Rebecca. She's our director of customer success. So she typically handles anything relating to new clients that come onto our system or any porting related questions for any numbers. Karen, she is our account manager. So if anything as far as billing or um, anything of the account that needs to be worked on, most likely she's going to take care of it. And then, of course, I have my other two team members, Ben and Philip. They are the other escalation engineers. They also work with me on bringing on new clients and building their system for them. Our agenda today, we're going to go over the basic login, getting your welcome email set up, resetting your password, and then we're going to go over the web application. That's going to be with the basic navigation, voicemail setup, and then we're going to go over some phone basics, whether that's going to be the phone, it's going to be the web phone, and then our mobile app. We won't really be covering the desk phone in this instance because there's so many different models, so they all have their own little setup at times. And before we get started, just letting you know that there will be a recording sent out to you of this training. Usually that gets sent out within 48 hours. If you do not get a recording and you're wanting one after that 48 hours mark, please reach out to us. You can either reach out to the training. I think it's a training at level365.com, or you can reach out to support and let them know that you're needing that training recording. And then again, any questions or concerns, feel free to put those in the Q&A or the chat. Getting to our support, we have a few different methods. First, we do have our support portal. That is at support.level365.com. Our email address is support@level365.com. You can also reach us on telephone, and that is 317-810-0024. Pressing option 1 gets you to support. Also, on any Level 365 device, you can dial 611, and that will also get you to support. And then we have our chat. Our chat you can find in the bottom left corner of your screen when you are on our support portal or while you're in the web app. And I'll show you those here in just a bit. For our telephone, we only have a live person answering calls Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. And then our chat is only available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Outside of those hours, you would be reaching a voicemail box if you call in, or if you're submitting tickets through an email. Those just get created into an email and they're sent off to the on-call engineer, and then that on-call engineer will triage it. If the issue is pressing, where you have a service impact, you're not receiving calls or you can't place calls, that's when the on-call engineer will be engaged. Outside of those, if there's anything related to like a user swap, you're changing one user to another user, that's usually handled the next business day. So let's go ahead and get started in here on our login. So you should be receiving a welcome email if you haven't already. That welcome email is going to have your login name. That's going to be your extension at whatever your email domain is. There are some instances where companies, they might not have the same email domain as others. So just refer back to your welcome email to confirm what your login name will be. In this instance, we have the 100 at level365_training.com. Yours will be different. So just refer to that. You'll have your extension. And then if you have a direct number assigned to you, then you'll see that here on the phone number. To set up your passwords, we'll go ahead and click the Complete Setup button. That's going to bring us into this new window. This window here will give us 3 different boxes. The first 2, you're just filling in your password twice. Just follow the requirements listed on the screen. And the third box will be your voicemail PIN. So your voicemail PIN has to be at least 6 digits, and that 6-digit PIN will, they cannot have a It cannot have a your extension inside of that. So just be aware of that. All right, and then once you set up your password, you'll be brought to our login screen. Again, put in that login name that you have and then the new password you just created and click the login button. Now, if you do forget your password, you can use the forgot password, and that is right below our login button. Using the forgot password is going to ask you to type in your login name. So enter that login name. Always refer back to that welcome email if you don't remember it, and click send. This is what the reset password email is going to look like. It's just going to have that blue reset password button. Go ahead and click that reset password. And then you're only presented with two boxes here. And that's just for your password. Enter in twice, follow the requirements, and you can click save. Now we don't have any restrictions, so you can reuse the same password that you had before. There's no issue with that. And now if you do forget your login name and you don't have your welcome email, you can simply click the forgot login name, enter in your email address that will be associated to your account. And then I always recommend to enter in your extension as well. While it is optional, there are some cases where your email address may be assigned to multiple extensions. Usually in the case of like general voicemail boxes and that can bring up. So just enter in your extension so we know which account is you're actually wanting the information for. Then click send. This is what that email will look like. You just click that login button, take that login name that you have here, and then get into the system. I'll do a quick pause just to see if there's any questions. Okay, we'll go ahead and move along. Feel free to put any questions in here any time. I can always take a pause break in the middle in the middle of the training. All right, next up is going to be our web app. So this is what you'll be using to access your voicemails from our portal, change your call forwarding options, check your call history, and so on. This is also where you can set up your voicemail box to have a specific greetings. So we'll go through the navigation and configuration of a few different things. The most important parts of the web app is your voicemail messages, your answering rules, that has your call forwarding options, and the call history. So we'll go ahead and navigate back into the web app. So we have our login page here. Let me go ahead and type in my login information. All right, upon logging in, this is what you're going to see. Your view will look a little different from mine just because we already have some voicemails generated and some calls generated on this platform. But once you start getting calls and you get voicemails, yours will look very close to this. So on our home page here, we have, well, I guess we'll go through the buttons at the top. So we have our navigation bar at the top. We have the home button that lands you on this home page, gives you a quick view, shows the last 10 of your voicemails, or the most recent 10 voicemails and the most recent 10 calls that you've had, whether you placed them, received them, or missed them. Shows a list of your active phones that are currently registered. Your messages, that will show your voicemail messages. Also gives you the option to change any settings that you need. Your contacts allows you to create new custom contacts for you to easily use. Your answering rules, that will be your call forwarding options and how you are receiving those calls if somebody calls your extension. A time frames directly correlate to the answering rule, so we won't necessarily get into those too much. The phone tab, that will show any device that you currently have assigned to your account, whether it is currently online or offline, you'll be able to find it here. Music on hold, that is not necessarily used very often by a lot of people, so we'll go ahead and skip that. Call history, this is where you're going to be able to find or filter for your calls, whether you placed them, received them, or missed them, and this history stays there where you can go back for years to come. In the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, I'm just going to go ahead and get off that page so we don't have to see that. Let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Okay, in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, we do have the support button. The support button is how you will access our live chat if you do need it. So click that support button, click the right here. We currently don't have anybody logged in at the moment, it looks like, but I apologize for that. Typically, you'll see a live chat option here. Otherwise, when there's no one logged in at the moment, you'll just see a contact us. But with that live chat, you can click live chat and fill out your information. In the bottom right-hand corner of your screen, so this contacts bar will show up at any time throughout our portal, throughout the web app, except for when you are on the contacts bar. And that's just a quick view into your contacts. You can start a chat message or make a call from here. In the top right-hand corner, we have our name. Clicking on the name and then profile, that will take you right into your profile. This mainly will allow you to change your password if you want to change it, but you have to know your password in this section to be able to change it. Otherwise, you will need to use the reset password option. Alternatively, you can also create or change your voicemail pin. In this case, you don't need to know your previous voicemail pin. You can just create the new one with no issues. The voicemail pin is only needed if you are going to access the voicemail from your desk phone or another source. But if you are using the Level365 Web App, then you should have no problem with it, or the mobile app or soft phone. Those all have direct connection from your login, so you don't have to input a voicemail pin. So we'll drill down into the messages section here. So within the messages, we have a few different buttons that we can click on. One thing to note, I'm going to go back to the home real quick. Anything that is highlighted in blue, so any numbers that you see, either the extension or a 10-digit phone number, we can click on that phone number and we'll have the option to click to call. So with this, it will allow you to create a call from the web portal, sorry, the web app, and it will initiate a call to your device to connect you to that person. So in this case, after we click to call, it's going to ask me what device I want to use. So if we want to use my desk phone, I have a desk phone that is a Yealink SIP T43. I will select that device and we can mark this as a default phone to use, or we can just leave it unchecked and click the call button. Clicking the call button, we'll dispatch a call. We'll automatically dispatch a call to that device. Once I answer that call on the device, it's going to then send the call out to the person that I'm dialing. So it acts kind of like a three-way call. It connects you to, it brings up your phone, so then it can call out to the other person. So into the messages, we have those several different buttons here. We can listen to the voicemails from our web app. That's if you have speakers or headphones. You also have a caller ID. If there's a caller ID that was sent to us, you will see it here. We don't do any manipulation, so as long as the carrier sends us something, then we are passing it along to you. There is a limitation of only 15 characters, so just be aware of that. That is including spaces. The date of the call and the time, then how long that call lasted, or sorry, how long the voicemail lasted. And then moving on, we have a few different buttons here. We have a call to play. So if you don't have a speaker, if you don't have any speakers or headphones, you can do a call to play and it will attempt to send it to your active phone. So then you can answer that call and listen to that voicemail. The next option here is forward. After we click this arrow, we get a box here. We can type in the extension or name of the person we wish to forward the voicemail to. So in this box, we can either type in any part of the extension or any part of a name. So if we just simply said ITH, we have John Smith and Mike Smith. So after we find who we're looking for, so we're going to forward a voicemail to John Smith. We will click on his name to make sure he's in the box. Then we can click the forward arrow button. Once more, clicking on this, it'll take a few seconds, and at the top, we'll see voicemail has been forwarded to John Smith. Now, in some cases, if the voicemail is a little bit longer, you may see it take a few more seconds. So don't be alarmed if it is taking up to 30 seconds to forward that over. The next button is the download button. This allows you to download that voicemail directly to your computer. Then we have the save button. This allows us to move a new voicemail over to our saved folder. And then we have the delete button that moves a that moves a voicemail over to the delete folder or the trash folder. Now, both of our new and saved folder, they currently do not have any limitations, so you are welcome to store voicemails in that for the time being without any issues with those being purged out. To change between your different folders, over on the left-hand side, we do have a new drop-down box. Then we can have our saved section or the trash. So one thing to note with our trash folder is that anything that has been deleted and ends up in the trash folder, it will be purged at the end of the night. Now that purge happens around 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. somewhere between that time. Once a voicemail has been purged, there's no retrieving it. So we always recommend that if you do accidentally delete a voicemail, go ahead and restore that voicemail immediately. So I just want to show you how that looks. So if we take this voicemail here in my saved folder, I'll press the delete button. It tells me this voicemail has been moved to trash. We'll switch over to the trash folder, and then we have the option to click save. This will allow us to put it back into the saved folder. And now it's back into the saved folder. So one thing that you do notice with my voicemails is that some of them have a script here that looks like it shows it's been transcribed. So we do have the option to do voicemail transcription. One thing to note with it is that it will only record the first 60 seconds of that voicemail. Anything after that will not be recorded on it. And once voicemail transcription is turned on, it will not retroactively go back and transcribe your previous voicemails. So in this case, I turned off the transcription and then created a new voicemail from today, and that's why we don't see any transcription here, but we do on the other three. Now, voicemail transcription is fairly decent. It will capture a good portion of what the person is trying to convey to you. Depending on the person's accent, how quick or how slow they talk, then that will change what the system might interpret. So just be aware of that. And in this instance, I spoke a little faster with this voicemail, so it didn't pick up the level part of our name. While this other one I slowed down and it captured the entirety of the message that I left. Moving on, we do have the chat and SMS tab here at the top. Now, for you, you may not see the SMS part. The SMS is just texting. Your company will need to be subscribed to the texting to allow that to happen. Otherwise, you'll see just chat. Chat is just a built-in chat feature that we have. It's like an instant messenger. It's very basic, and that's just for clients that if they do not have any other instant messenger, they have that option. And you can only chat with people inside your company that has also been created, that also have a Level365 account. You can start a new conversation here, type in the extension or the user's name, and then you can start your conversation. Or within our contacts bar, clicking the little chat bubble will also do the same thing. Next up is our settings. So with settings, the main things that you just want to know is that this is where you can change your voicemail greeting. You can also change your voicemail transcription here. If you wanted to enable it, you can, or if it's already on and you want to remove it, that's also an ability. So that's voicemail transcription here. Either keep it disabled or switch it to the Google Cloud speech to text. Again, changing this to speech to text will not retroactively transcribe any of your existing voicemails. It is only on future voicemails. Even if you go and disable it, it will not retroactively go and remove the transcription on any voicemails that's already been transcribed. And then we have your voicemail greeting. So in this section, there is a drop-down box. So once you do create multiple, you'll have the option to choose between them. Typically, you see that with people that may go on a holiday or a vacation or using PTO for some reason, and they want a specific voicemail for that voicemail greeting for that day or days that they might be out. So you can select any of them here. You can listen to each one of these that has been created from this menu without having to do the manage. But in this case, we're going to create a new voicemail greeting. So we're going to click the manage button here. It looks like the little speaker icon. And then we're going to add a new greeting. So we're going to click add greeting at the bottom. And we're given three options. We can do text to speech. It allows you to type in what you want a computer generated voice to say for you. You have a choice of about 15 different voices, both male and female voices that you can choose from. You can click upload, and that's if you have an existing recording. We just need that it has to be a .wav file if you are going to upload that greeting, and then the record option. So the record option allows you to record from your device, from any device, or even a cell phone number. So you can even type in a full 10-digit number here, and the call will be sent out. So what happens here, if I place a call, so we'll say PTO test, for instance, for this greeting name, I'm going to press call. My desk phone is now ringing. I'm going to answer the call. It's going to tell me to start my recording after the tone. So we'll give it just a few seconds here. And now we know that the recording should be good. So I'm going to click end call or hang up the phone, and your screen will automatically refresh. Now we see that PTO test is there. We can press the play button to listen to that recording. We can even download this recording if we want to use it in a future project or anything like that. You can also delete. So in this case, we're just going to leave it as is. We're going to click done. And then from here, after we create our new greeting, I always recommend refreshing your page. I have seen some instances where Google Chrome does not like it when we create the new greeting, so we have to just refresh the page. You can either use the Chrome browser refresh button, or at the top right side of our screen, we have our own little built-in refresh button that will refresh the web page. And then I will select our new greeting, so PTO test, and then hit save. That's going to save our settings for our extension. And then lastly, on the settings part here is the notifications. So typically clients generally leave this alone unless there's any reason for it. In some cases, if you need to be HIPAA compliance, we typically see people only doing the email type with send with hyperlink. Otherwise, you can leave it as is. And then we have the after email notification. So this is what happens after you either receive the hyperlink or if we've received the attachment. What do we want that voicemail to do? Most people either like to leave it as new or remove it directly to the save folder because, again, we do not have any limitations. So the voicemails just typically accumulate in those folders for you to come back to. There is one more option where you can move a voicemail directly to the trash folder. The only issue with that is that if you do set up the move to trash, just be aware that if your email provider blocks our emails for any reason, you will never get that notification that you have a voicemail, and you may miss some voicemails because once it's in that trash folder, if you don't check the trash folder within that period today, before 11 p.m., then you will potentially lose that voicemail because, again, it does purge out at the end of the night. So I'm gonna take a quick pause here just because I do go through a few different things. And if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, we're going to go ahead and keep going along. Next up is the contacts. In the contacts is where you can create those custom contacts that you can easily do a call to, click the call, or you can use those in your mobile app or web app to easily, it's basically act like a speed dial. So in this instance, I created a vendor contact here with 3 different numbers. You'll see that those have different icons. Those just correspond to the sections when I click the add contacts. you'll see there's a work number, mobile, home, and fax. So that's why you see those different icons depending on where you put that phone number at. If you want to favorite a contact, favoriting a contact is allowing you the ability to change this all button here from all to favorites, and you can only see those contacts. So even if we switch over to the home button, click on our contacts bar, we see our favorites right now. We can also change the box, or change the selection from the top here to my contacts. That'll be your custom contacts that you've created. Your coworkers, that's only other people that have a Level 365 account. Or if your company uses departments and sites, you can filter it per the site, per department to help you better find who you're looking for. To favorite a contact, on the right-hand side of their name, there'll be a little star icon when you hover over the name. Click that star icon, and that will allow you to favorite them. You can either easily uncheck that by just clicking the star again to remove that. And let's go into the answering rules section. So the answering rules section, this is where you can set up your call forwarding. So for instance, let me go ahead and remove this. So by default, this is what you'll see. You may only see one or two devices. You most likely won't see as many as I have here for my test account. But by default, you will see the default rule. It shows as active because it's always available to you. There are instances where it may not be active, and that's if you have a specific time frame that is overriding that. But by default, we have this simultaneously ring, and then it has all my devices listed. Some of them are green and some of them are red. So when we see the green check mark, that means it is online and registered and ready to work. So I can receive calls on that device. The the icon here with the green down arrow, that is push enabled. That just means my mobile app is currently on standby. It's running in the background of my phone. So once it gets a call dispatched to me, this will go green, it'll go to a check mark, and then we'll receive that call. These other two devices with the X's, that just tells me that those devices are offline. So in this instance, we can also change, we can set do not disturb on our system here. We always recommend making changes on our answering rules when you need to send calls to your voicemail, go into doing D&D, or even forwarding your phone to somebody else. Doing it from the desk phone doesn't always work properly. So anybody that calls your extension, those calls are always routed through your answering rules first. So it makes the most sense to go ahead and create it from there. So let me go ahead and show you how to forward your phone or go into do not disturb. So we're going to go ahead and go to the default rule. We'll click the little pencil icon on the right. We can easily check the box do not disturb and then hit save. It's going to do a refresh, and then you see that your phone is now on do not disturb, so you won't receive any calls. If you do have a voicemail box created, it will go directly to your voicemail instead. Now, if we want to revert this change, we just simply click that pencil icon again and uncheck the box for do not disturb and click save. Now, if we want to forward, we're going to be, say we're going to be going on lunch or something, or we're going to be walking away from our desk, but we want somebody to receive calls if they are calling our extension. We'll click the pencil icon, and under the call forwarding section, we'll click the always, and say we want calls for our extension to go to John Smith. So when we type in John Smith here or his extension, we have a few different options to select from. So the user part, that just means that calls are going to go to that user's profile and route through the answering rules. The next three are phones. That means we're going to send a call directly to one of those devices if we select that. Voicemail allows us to send calls directly to that voicemail box. So our recommendation is always use user if we're going to be sending it to somebody to receive a call, because otherwise we don't know at any given time what John Smith's device is using. So sending it to the user allows John Smith to manage what device he's going to receive a call on. So then we'll click save. And now we see calls are forwarded to the user 1000, John Smith, and that's always happening. To revert this change, we'll click the pencil icon again. We can either highlight everything in the box and delete it, and then uncheck the box, or we can keep it as is. It doesn't matter. As long as the box is unchecked, That's all we care about. Now you want to, if you want to restore the simultaneously ring, we go down to the bottom, select simultaneously ring, and then ensure the include users extension and ring all users phone is selected. Those three boxes are the main part that we care about. Then click save, and now all of our devices are back in here. Now, if you want to, I will quickly touch on timeframes. If you want to schedule a, say if you're going to be taking PTO and or vacation and you're going to be out of the office for 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, doesn't matter. We can create a time frame and add a new answering rule into the system to manage that for us, and it will automatically work. You don't have to go, you don't have to manually change anything. It will just start whenever you want it and stop whenever you want it. To do this, we're going to create a new time frame by going to timeframes. I'm going to go ahead and delete this one that I created. And then we're going to click add time frame. So we're going to say today, I'm going to be out of the office today and I won't return until Monday at 8 a.m. So we want our system to route calls. So John Smith for starting today, starting right now, all the way until Monday at 8 a.m. So I'm going to type in here Joe PTO. We can name it whatever we want. I always recommend putting your name on it just so we have it. You can either select always if you always want this to work, and that will allow you to manually change if you want this to be turned on or not. Most people use a specific dates and ranges, but there's also days of the week and times. This allows you to select, say, if you are always off on Friday and you want someone to receive your calls, if somebody calls your extension, then that's when you can set this up. I always recommend saying, in that case, be like, type in here Joe Friday schedule or something like that. That way we know if in case we need to come in here, or if yourself, if you need to make any changes, you'll see that. But we'll click add time frame. We'll type in Joe PTO, and then we'll click specific dates and ranges. Now we'll click in the empty box here next to the calendar, and we're going to find today's date. So today is the 13th. We want to just go ahead and start it. We can adjust this time to whatever we want. So if we want to say we started this at 8 a.m., then we can start that. And I said we were going to go until Monday. So we'll find the 18th for the Monday, and we want 8 a.m. as well. So this means starting at 8 a.m. this morning, all the way until 8 a.m. on Monday morning, we want this Joe PTO to work, to be active. So we'll click save. Let's go back into the answering rules. Then we'll click add rule. We'll select our new time frame we just created, which was Joe PTO. We're going to check the box for always because we want to send this call to John Smith. We'll select the user so he can manage his own devices. Then click save. All right. Now, typically the answer will show up immediately. It looks like my system just didn't refresh at the time. So if you don't see it immediately, go ahead and refresh your page, and then you'll be able to find that. So in most cases, a new time frame that's added to your answering rule will show at the very top. In some cases, it may be below the default or another rule. So just make sure you're reordering those in the proper way. The way these answering rules work is that it will go into a top-down order. So whatever is at the very top, it will try to match. If it says, so say we have one on the top that says it starts on Fridays at 8 a.m. Well, we know today is not Friday at 8 a.m., so that one is not going to be active. It's going to go to the next one, and then say the next one is Joe PTO. Well, we do have that active because it said we told it that we want it to be active today at 8 a.m. all the way until Monday. So this won't turn off until Monday at 8 a.m. There's two different ways that we can adjust this. Well, I guess three different ways. We can, if we don't no longer, if we get back to work early for some reason, we can either click and drag the time frame to the bottom of the list and hit save. And that way the default rule takes action, takes over being active. Or, let me put this back to the top, we can manually disable this rule by clicking the pencil icon and then unchecking the enabled box at the top and hitting save. That automatically disables it. Or you can also delete this time frame, or sorry, delete this answering rule. So in this case, we're going to leave this as active, leave it as is. Next up is the phone section. So the phone section this is where you're going to know exactly what device. So if you do a call to record option, where it's going to ask you what device you want to put in, it bases it off the name of the device. So if we want to receive calls on our desk phone for that or anything, we would type in 1001. If we're using our web phone, we'll type in 1001 WP, or if we have another device here, we can just make sure that we select the right one that we're going to receive calls to. Typically, this window here is not used as often because once you learn your couple devices, you don't necessarily need to look at it. Again, music on hold is not really used. If we just ask that if you do use the music on hold, that you do own the license for whatever music that you select. Then the call history. So this is where you can check your call history, whether you missed, received, or placed a call. And by default, it checks the last 3 days of your call history. If you do want to expand that out, you can click the filters button in the top left corner. Clicking filters gives you the option to filter any date range that you want, except you can't do any more than 31 days at a time. So that's the only limitation. So if we want to go back all the way to December 1st, it's going to see that it's failing because there's too many calls, or sorry, there was too many days between that time. So if we want to adjust that, we just simply click off the screen and then find the two box. And we want calls only for December. So we're going to do 30 from the 1st to the 31st. Now we don't have that error. We can click filter. And we see any calls from that time range. If we click filter again, we have ability to search for the caller's name, or sorry, the caller's number. If you do know their number, or if you know what number they dialed, you can search it that way too. The call type gives you inbound, outbound, missed, extension, off net. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility. Of course, if you're looking for a particular call and you can't find it, it's possible that it went through a different way. So just reach out to your manager or the Level 365 support team, and we can assist you on trying to find it. On the call history, you have on the left the phone number of the person that called, the name section. This will let you know who called you. This would be just a caller ID. If there's one passed. If you do have a vendor, if you do have a contact created for the person that you're talking to, the system will see, so they see this number here, the 0024. It sees it that I have created a special contact that says vendor contact, and it's under the home number. Now, if I have this under the cell, then you see it under cell, and so on. Of course, you have the date and time of the call and how long that call lasted. Okay, I'm just going to take another quick pause here. That wraps up our web app navigation and some helpful tips on it. And then we got a couple more things that we're going to look at. So I'm going to take a brief pause, see if there's any questions. All right, nothing just yet. So we'll go on. So in the top right corner, we do have one of the things that didn't show you yet is next to our name, to the left of our name, we have apps. Clicking on apps gets us to a web phone client. Clicking on web phone client, that allows us to make and receive calls from our desktop. Now this program here is built into the Windows Chrome, or sorry, built into Google Chrome. So there may be some times where something may not work properly or you're having some call quality issues. Typically that's related to Chrome or some internet quality issues. But this allows you to place calls and receive calls as needed. You can also check your voicemails from here, update your greetings, and change your answering rules. So in this case, what this web phone does, it does run off of your microphone. So if you do not have a valid microphone plugged in and you don't allow, as soon as you log into the web app, or sorry, the web phone client, you're going to get prompted to allow your microphone to be used by it. Go ahead and hit allow. And then to know if your microphone is actually being utilized, in the top right corner of that screen, you'll see there's a little phone icon. If it's white, that means that it's registered and that the microphone is being seen. If it is red, then it is unregistered, and most likely your microphone is not being seen by the system. There are two views to the web phone client. We have our compact view that we're looking at now, and then if we press the maximize button, we see a secondary view. This is just the expanded view, and then you can see everything at once, whether it's your settings, your voicemails, anything of that nature. To place a call, we can click the little plus button in the bottom right corner, and then we click the dial pad. Clicking dial pad allows you to type in any extension phone number that you're wanting to dial, and then you would simply click the button here. Sorry, my screen was a little small. Okay, maybe 1 second. My screen was all off there, but you will have this screen here with the green little phone icon. Now we can click that, and we have a call that's dispatching. This call, it gives you all the normal options that you would on a regular phone. You can hold the call, click the dial pad to initiate another call, click add call, transferring, parking a call, any of that nature. We have the switch phone option, allows you to switch between the mobile app and the web phone as well. So let's go ahead and end that call. And we're going to close out of this web phone. Lastly, that we have to look over is the mobile app. So I don't have any demos for the mobile app, but we can show you that on our knowledge base articles. So on our supportportal.com, is support.level365.com. This is where you'll find those knowledge base articles. Now we are always improving these, so please be on the lookout for them. We have we have a mobile app for both the iOS and Android devices. So just go to either the App Store or the Google Play Store, and you should be able to find it. Search for Level365 soft phone, and you should be able to locate it. We also have these instructions. So if you do end up on our support page, this is what the support page looks like. You would find the apps and integrations. Click on apps and integrations, and then under apps, you'll find the Level365 soft phone for any particular options you may have, or any devices you may have. Alternatively, you can search our knowledge base article for soft phone, and you'll be able to find it in a list as well. One thing to note, if you do decide to use our desktop soft phone or the mobile app soft phone, you cannot use these 4 characters in your password. So we have the %, and sign, plus, and semicolon. That just has to do with some programming issues, so you cannot use those. Otherwise, you're going to get an error that you're not authorized to use the system, or that your account's not valid. If you do use our mobile app, please reach out to the support team, because most likely we need to activate your mobile app account to allow that to happen. There's no additional charge for either the soft phone or the mobile app, so you're welcome to use those as needed. That just allows you to place calls from your mobile device as you would from like a Level365 device. So you won't, the person that you're calling or that you're receiving a call from, they won't know your mobile number. They'll just see your work information. So we'll just do a quick scan through everything here. Our soft phone, our mobile app soft phone, it looks very identical to the soft phone itself. Same username and password that you would on our web app. So this one I'm looking at is it is on the iPhone. Okay. We have our navigation bar at the bottom between your keypad, your quick dials, history, contacts, and messages, and then your voicemail. You can also access other parts of the system. Of course, when you first log in, you're going to get prompted to if you want notifications or if you want access to your contacts. So the only thing that Level365 does with your mobile app contacts is it just pulls those contacts to where the application can see them. We don't do any changes on them. We don't save them into any spot. It just allows the application to look at them, and it's mainly used for people that are in sales that have a bunch of contacts on their mobile phone that they need access to from the Level365 side. And of course, once you place, excuse me, once you place your first call, you're going to get asked if you want to give the soft phone permission to access the microphone. Go ahead and click OK, because otherwise you won't be able to talk to the other person. Again, here's our navigation bar. All this information is on these knowledge base articles that if you want to refer back to. Of course, if you do have any questions, you can always reach out to our support team. So and one thing to note about the D&D for the mobile app is that the D&D will only place the mobile app device into a do not disturb. If you do receive calls at your extension, it will still ring any other devices you have, just not the mobile app. So it's just a device-based do not disturb. Of course, we have the settings and placing calls. All that is listed within here. This is what the quick dial look section looks like. We currently, there was an error, so this screenshot needs to be updated, but you will see names here if you have any BLFs or quick dial speed dials listed. Here's our call history section. Again, it looks identical to what we have on the web app. Your contacts that you can switch between, any type of messages if you do use the instant messenger or text messaging. Our voicemail system, where you can see those voicemails. If you have voicemail transcription turned on, you will also see the transcription listed here. And that is the end of the mobile app. So let me just skip through here. Had a few different things that I already passed through. My apology. All right. Any final questions that you may have for me, just let me know. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the getting support just to have this up on the screen for a few more minutes. Again, the Level 365 support team is here to help you, so you can reach out to us at any time of the day. Of course, if you're wanting to talk to someone real time and it's not a pressing issue, then calling us during our business hours would be the best. Otherwise, you might not be able to talk to somebody after hours, depending on the issue. And feel free to utilize our live chat anytime if that is helpful for you. If you are not able to call somebody, you can access that on both the support.level365.com and our web application. Well, I'm not seeing any questions. So what I want to say is I do appreciate your time for joining us here and going through the Level 365 basic user training. If you do have any questions or if you're having any issues receiving our training video at the end, again, that takes about 48 hours. Please let us know. We get that sent out to you. Otherwise, I do wish you the best on your rest of your day. So thank you and goodbye.